All right, let's have some fun. Welcome to Rhythm and Roads, Las Vegas. I'm Joshua Jacob. On today's show, we have a very special guest, jazz musician, saxophonist, Rick Keller. Welcome, sir, to Rhythm and Roads.
Oh, hi, Joshua. It's great to be here today. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, pleasure. And looking forward to hearing your story on how it all started for you as a jazz musician and saxophonist. And I know you are also a professor out here in UNLV. Is that correct?
Yeah, I am
Yeah.
an adjunct professor looking for full-time employment. But in any case, I've been teaching over there about 10 years and while
Wow. Okay.
touring and now I have a little more time on my hands and I'd like to teach even more if the opportunity exists. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I did, come across the reason why we're here also. I came across your current album, Heroes, I'm a jazz, I love jazz music as well. I appreciate it. I appreciate the art and just the
Hmm.
skills of everyone. And so I really enjoyed your album and I
Oh,
wanted
thank
to,
you.
yeah, and I wanted to get to know the story behind that.
Oh,
But
all
before we
right.
get into it, I always like to get to know the guests first. So where you're
Sure.
from, and then if you know, how did you get started into, I guess, music? Does it run in your family? So we could start with where you're from, and then how did this start with you being learning saxophone and so on? So,
Yeah, so my story is from childhood. I started to hear music and really be inspired by it, although I couldn't tell what was going on. And there was a possibility in elementary school in upstate New York, where I grew up, Syracuse in the suburbs. So that'd be North Syracuse and Cicero area. There was an opportunity to take lessons on an instrument, like a band instrument, and I asked my mom, could we get a saxophone and could we rent one? And I was about 11 years old,
oh,
and a
wow.
couple of my best friends were already playing a year, and I had played accordion at the age of 5, but I really didn't like it. I have to say the
Oh, okay.
sound of the accordion just wasn't doing it for me, and although I learned to read music, which was then very helpful, and as I started to play the saxophone at the age of 11, there were possibilities in the schools system to play in a band. They were very competitive, and we did state competitions into high school as well as
Wow.
national competitions. So in that time, I was hearing the radio and I was listening to Carole King Jazzman song with Tom Scott, and I was hearing any kind of rock music that was out there, Led Zeppelin, and I
Oh,
was like,
wow.
this stuff is just so compelling, and it really caught my attention. And funk music. I was hearing the
Yep.
Dazz
Yep.
Band and Earth, Wind and Fire and all these bands. They were breaking then,
Wow.
Doobie Brothers and all this stuff. There was first generation of that music in that era, the '80s, and so I was totally enamored with it, and it just inspired me to no end. And at the same time, I had heard people playing solos that were improvised, and I said, "That's what I want to do.
Wow.
I want to play something that I it's like play what I feel, just like the tune on Steely Dan's Asia.
Yeah.
It's like they say I drink Scotch whiskey all night long, but Deacon Blues is that I learned to play the saxophone, and that's kind of been my life has been playing the saxophone and not the Scotch whiskey part, but
Yeah.
definitely playing the
Yeah.
saxophone and loving it so much and loving sharing the music since day one. It was all about how can I play this instrument so well that it makes people happy, and then while I'm playing it, I'm happy. So it was great.
Right.
Great. Yep.
Oh, awesome. And that's the thing is other artists, as you mentioned, have influenced me too as a musician because I play drums.
Sure.
That feeling of just being like, man, that's what I want to do. I believe, certain artists that come in your life, not in person, but just discovering their music, has a part of your purpose, of your path, of you being a
Yeah.
musician yourself. But well said. Yeah, thanks, Rick, for sharing that.
All right. Awesome.
So from that point, how did you end up in Las Vegas?
Well, that's a kind of a long story, sort
Oh,
of. We'll,
okay.
we'll keep it short. But
Yeah.
the after graduating college, I went to the University of Miami, and I went with a couple of friends, Dr. David Ake, and I set off on a journey to discover the European lifestyle. And so I moved to
Wow.
Munich, Germany, which was the home of ECM Records,
Okay.
and met some people, including the Hans Wendel, who was the second in charge and tour manager for Chick Corea and Keith Jarrett and people like that. And
Wow.
so he brought us to some of the concerts of some of the famous jazz musicians that were touring and coming through town, and he brought some of them to our concerts.
Wow.
So I got to, yeah, I was like 21 years old, fresh out of college, and in Central Europe, living a bohemian lifestyle, and just
Oh man.
getting all this, these outside influences that I could never imagine, growing up in upstate New York. So there was quite unique. It was a very unique experience. At that time, the Berlin Wall was still up, so there was a very different time.
Wow.
And of course, we didn't have the communication capabilities that we have nowadays.
Wow.
So it was pretty, I was pretty cut off from everything that was happening in the U.S., except for what you could get, from news sources. And then you would see anything that would be like a major breaking artist or something like that, but not a lot. There was very different musical tastes and appreciation for art over there, and I have to say that was it was okay. I didn't miss it. I was excited about all the things that I was experiencing in Europe. So that kind of took about 17 years,
Whoa,
and
17
yeah.
years?
Yeah, I lived in
Wow.
Central Europe for 17 years and kind of cut my teeth in the business and the industry, whereby I was playing in studios and recording and playing jazz festivals. I went to Japan a few times, played Blue Note
Wow.
Tokyo. Yeah, with some artists there. Barbara Dennerlein was a very, very celebrated, or is a celebrated artist from Germany. And we went to a bunch of different jazz festivals as well as very famous venues in and outside of Europe. And I also got an opportunity to play with my own group at the Canary Islands Jazz Festival and a couple of other festivals in France and what have you. So in that time, I was always dedicated to creative music, but at the same time, playing and having opportunities in commercial recording situations more than anything else. So I was playing advertising music, jingles they're called, and
Okay.
playing on films or TV series and on different artists. I was playing solos. At that time, there were a lot of opportunities for saxophone solos. And so that was really exciting to be doing the same thing.
Oh
So,
yeah.
like playing the solos, living the dream of traveling, playing jazz music, and then recording. So that was happening for a number of years. And things changed a bit with the taste of music, and for quite a while there wasn't a lot of opportunity for horn sections and
Okay.
yeah, at least over there, and saxophone solos. So technology advanced, and you had symphonic sampling was happening, and so that kind of like changed my my whole earning structure, and I had to be resourceful, and I started teaching technology in a multimedia academy for a minute,
Oh, you
and
did. Okay.
yeah, and that but a friend of mine, Gil Kaup, that's here, plays with Santa Fe, and the Fat City Horns, plays trumpet with them.
Oh, cool.
He's a good friend of
Yeah.
mine and a
Okay.
very close friend. 40 years we've been great friends,
Wow.
and so we knew each other and met in Munich, Germany, and he got me started teaching technology. So hence when I teach at UNLV now, that's
Yeah.
because because of him, I had the opportunities to teach that. And I've always pursued technology because I saw the writing on the wall. So while I
Nice.
was in Germany, there was all these, it was there. You had a laptop computer. The first internet was happening.
Yes.
Cell phones started, and
Yeah.
digital recording. All that stuff was made possible. Home studios were starting to become affordable, the gear and all that digital technology. And so I embraced it immediately
Wow.
and started writing on a computer quite a bit. And as time progressed, I decided to move back to the States. I had my run of the romance with Central Europe, and just before 9/11, as unluck would have it, I moved back to the States. So it was September of 2001. And
Wow.
in about
Okay.
6 days in advance, I landed in Los Angeles, California. Prior to that, I had played 2 weeks with Natalie Cole as a
Oh,
pickup
cool.
musician.
All right.
Yeah. And so I met all these musicians, great musicians from
Wow.
Los Angeles, and said, well, I guess I'll go someplace I've never been before, just like I did with Europe. And I said, I'll go to Los Angeles. So I went to Los Angeles. 5 days later, 9/11 happened, and it
Wow.
was kind of, yeah, it was tragic, the aftermath, and a very slow start for me. But nonetheless, I pursued, prevailed, and kept my put my best foot forward, and did what I could to get integrated into the scene.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was afforded some opportunities. It took a little while to meet a lot of musicians because first everything was kind of in disarray.
Mm.
There wasn't a lot of performances. The country had to regroup on a lot of fronts, and
Oh,
so there was not a lot of industry activity at that
right.
time. So then I found my way into some opportunities in Los Angeles and around Los Angeles, and recorded at Capitol Records. Person
Oh,
that
you
I worked
did?
with,
Really?
yeah, oh yeah, quite a number of times with the master recordist engineer Al Schmidt, and that was due to the gracious opportunity that I was afforded from Chris Walden, who's a very celebrated composer, film composer, and
Wow.
he just not conducted, but was writing the arrangements for the Oscars the other day. So, for
Wow. Okay.
instance, yeah, and he works with John Williams and other such people.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, he was
Very
very
cool.
very helpful to me. And as time progressed in Los Angeles, I didn't see the forward momentum that I was really looking for, and I had moved a little further outside of town. And then it was just time to move on, personal choices.
Yeah.
And I in 2016 I moved to Las Vegas. On My friend Gil had been here for a number of years and was doing well. And I said, well, there's a university that looks pretty interesting. It's a
Yeah.
center of entertainment. So I moved to Las Vegas and said this will be, a challenge, but it's not too far. I can pack up my stuff and bring it from Los Angeles. And so I did.
Yeah.
And then I bought a little humble home that I'm sitting in right now, and started my way into getting established. Very traditional method. You meet people, you
Yeah.
show up, you go out to the gigs, you talk to people, you let them know that you're available, you're kind and courteous,
Yeah.
and then things happen. So and here I am about 10 years into it, and have had plenty of
Wow.
opportunities, and at the same time kept my relationships with other musicians from the past. And occasionally I have different recording sessions that I do from my house, or now at UNLV's recording studio. We have a state of the art recording studio now, and it's been
Oh, that's
upgraded.
very cool. Wow.
Yeah, it's very, yeah. There's an analog SSL board in there, and
Wow.
a Dante system, so network system. So it's actually really really excellent.
Oh,
And we have
man.
surround sound system, so we can actually record in stereo and surround in another room at the same time simultaneously.
Dang, that's really cool,
So
man.
yeah, Chuck Foley and Sam Friend, along with, of course, Gil Kaup, were mostly responsible for that installation, and especially Sam Friend, and it was just a great opportunity for us.
Oh, of
And so
course, dude.
so now, this made it possible for me to work on Heroes. So fast forward, we got up to Las
Yeah.
Vegas, and now questions about Heroes. What do you
Well,
think?
I actually wanted to say thank you for sharing that part of your chapter. I think that's chapter two, what we just finished on.
Oh yeah,
But I gotta say, that's cool that you worked or got to experience with Capitol Records. Oh, I mean, I've driven by there before, and then just a few musicians, especially one I interviewed, Steve Smith of Dirty
yeah.
Vegas. He actually recorded there back in I
Mhm.
think 2003. But yeah, when I asked him about it, he says that it's just being in that studio is just incredible. So for you to experience that, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, no, no doubt. It's a magical place, and the pictures, just like any place that you go to,
Oh
they
yeah.
want to they show you some historical account of what's been there, and you see Frank Sinatra or any artist on the wall
Yeah.
that's been there and recorded, and you just say, "Okay, I'm in a hallowed ground right now. This is
Yeah.
very special." And so the opportunity to record there always was the handful of times that I was there and recorded, it was excellent.
Oh, that's
Just
awesome.
very fulfilling. Yeah.
Well, I hope one day I can get an invitation to go and check it out because oh my
Oh,
God,
you'll
that
love it.
oh
You'll
that
definitely love it.
studio has always been my favorite since I was young, just because of just
Mhm.
this history behind it. But besides
Absolutely.
that, yeah, again, that's awesome. You got to be a part of that. But yes, let's get into chapter 3 on heroes. Interesting titles. So let's start with why you chose the title Heroes.
Well, my commitment to education or passing on the spirit of music and as an artist, what becomes very apparent is that all great artists have, well, some people say they stole from other great artists, but they were influenced by them.
Right.
So that was kind of what people say about composers. So
Oh,
it's like you never came up with an original idea, you just borrowed the
oh,
idea from somebody else. So that's, it's very hard to be an innovator and come up with something very unique. Certainly, I don't think that I am unique, except that I have a personal voice and I draw from the influences.
yeah.
So the name Heroes has to do with the fact that each one of the songs is a tribute to a specific artist that was very influential uh, and still is. These
Oh,
artists are still very influential. I chose because I had already written one or two pieces to focus on fusion era, which was kind of interesting how that happened. As a dedicated jazz musician, we look to the fathers of jazz music
mm,
back from the turn of the last century, the
mhm,
history of jazz. It's very imperative that you study that and you
yeah.
become acquainted with the vocabulary and the history that is jazz music, the art form of jazz music. So, of course, I have been looking to any of the founding fathers that you would, Charlie Parker or Thelonious Monk. That's the bebop era. So
Yeah.
you can go
Yeah.
back even a lot further than that. Of course, Lester Young and beyond that. There's so many people that you can look to. But the main thing is that I decided that the music that I was going to focus on, interestingly enough, was the music I heard when I was about 10 or 11 years old when I was starting,
Wow.
which was happened to coincide with the fusion, jazz fusion era. So all those musicians that I'm paying tribute to and the bands, so it was either a band or a specific musician or the group,
Okay.
certainly the band being a group,
Yeah.
and those individuals were so important to the sound and made a unique sound, and that's what's really something to be learned by us
Yeah.
in this day and age. Is like still we have to find our own voice and somehow bring it into what we create, which will then in turn hopefully sound good to somebody and become be appreciated.
Right.
And so I had a song that's called "For Pat," and that was written in this as a tribute to Pat Metheny,
Okay.
and who's one of my biggest heroes that I look to for the inspiration of how to play with selfless love for music and try to translate that into the song as well as how I play
Mm.
as an improviser. So that's kind of the model of when I listen to some band or artist, I chose that particular artist or band
Yeah.
because of how they made me feel. And
Mm.
it's hard because there's so many of them. There's a list.
There is. Yeah.
It's a forever list. So I had to kind of reduce it to the most, the top,
Yeah.
10 or something like
Yeah.
that.
Top five, top. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's about 10
Oh, 10.
bands or
Okay.
artists that I've represented in this piece. The last five pieces called "The Cycle of Life" a cycle of life, and that's a tribute to the band Oregon, and specifically the lead composer Ralph Towner. Although the whole band is just, I mean, it's off the hook. They're
Wow.
all such virtuosos, and all of these bands, there's so many unique personal voices, and that's was my at least somehow I'm trying to say, look, I am only a result of all these people who came before me, and now I want to try and make a beautiful document to pay tribute to them, and I hope you enjoy it. I mean, that's my main message of this project, and hopefully that's what comes across as you read the. You know, I went to great lengths to write about it so that people could read liner notes and not
Oh,
just
really?
there's
Okay.
a ton of oh yeah there's a lot of information available with it, and right now it's only available on CD and digital, but there will be a vinyl release and some video footage. I've got a lot of B-roll, but there's three 4K videos that I think I shared with you that are I haven't released them yet, but they're pending release, and I have to do some organization for that. Yeah, but the whole record is it came together. And another unique thing about this, the Heroes concept was all those bands, to a great extent, the musicians enjoyed playing with each other. Now, there's
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously not all bands, we're all buddy buddy, but we've heard many stories, I'm sure, and all kinds of of disagreements
Yeah.
and what
Right.
have it, internal strife. But in any
Yeah.
case, the main thing was that if you watch or you watch these bands, of course, because there's a lot of footage out now, and if you listen to it and then you look to where that what they did outside of the band, a lot of times they recorded together
Mm.
and of their own solo records. So it was really important for me to choose musicians that I was acquainted with,
Yeah.
and certainly there's so many musicians I'd love to play with, but at least for this Heroes record, I've realized choosing people that I love and love to make music with.
Yeah.
And even some of them were newer people in my life or my musical life. And that was also another aspect of this record
Wow.
that I wanted to share with you today.
Well, thank you, Rick, for sharing that. And I totally want to highlight that what you said on being with musicians that you can really get along with, because I feel like, I mean, it's true. I've heard the same thing where there's certain musicians that are there just to do the job, but they some of them don't get along. From other interviews I've watched from other, celebrity music artists that I've read or heard. It all varies, but yeah, for me as a musician as well, I feel like it's very important that the team represents itself as a team, not as someone who's leading as one, because each um, musician has something to put into the album. Each one has their own unique skill to present itself. That way, the whole album can just sound great, and each person giving what they have to offer, instead of one just directing everything and they don't have a say. I don't agree on that so much. I feel like everyone should have a part in doing what they can to present something as you're writing a song. Each
Yes.
musician. And so yeah, that's great that you had a team that was like that for you, that everyone was getting along and supportive of each other. And that's important. And I believe that's probably why you're not probably, that's why Heroes is such a great jazz album, because you can tell everyone was in it 100% giving themselves because everyone
Oh
just
yeah.
enjoyed everyone's presence. So
Yeah, whereby a lot, some of the, yeah, I won't say a lot, some of the record was recorded together as a unit, and
okay.
other tracks were recorded separately. It did take a long time to put it together. I didn't have the luxury of just having people come in and out of the studio
Oh, okay.
to do that. So there was some other means of assembly to put this record together, which required my patience
Yeah.
because obviously I wanted to get it done. But
Yeah.
it did take about 2 years
Wow, 2 years.
to get all the recordings together and certainly there was a organizational period where I had to sit down and say, okay, how can I really realize this project? So a lot of project management was involved on my
Okay.
part, sitting
Yeah.
down, drawing up a plan, and deciding, okay, I have phase one had already happened. There was some recordings, and then I had to decide, okay, can I use some of these recordings that weren't intentionally made for a record, but they were recorded really well, and there's some magic on these recordings. So that I was able to take and salvage, so more or less, three of the pieces,
Okay.
and then I took that and then decided, okay, phase two I'm going to do together, which has hence was another three songs that are documented with a video six camera shoot at UNLV. And then the final phase three of the production happened also at UNLV, along with all the production that I do at my house. So
Okay.
there's kind of production phases where I sit down at my
Yeah.
studio and I'm composing. For instance, the Cycle of Life. From the six pieces, five of them were composed in June of the release date in August. So that
Wow.
was like very close to the final release date. And there was some of the songs date back to as far as 1997. So they were sitting in
Oh,
my vault
really?
and my archive, not the recordings, but the compositions.
Okay.
So there was at that time, I mean, I was always compelled to be inspired by other artists. So this project really was a result of, patiently deciding how can I put all these pieces of a puzzle together, and what pieces do I need to exemplify the goal, the mission statement of heroes, and here is each piece. And do you hear what I hear when you listen to it?
Yeah.
If you read about it, like some pieces, some musicians tell me I immediately recognize. Us Against the World, it
Oh, okay.
sounds like Tower of Power, I hope,
Oh, okay.
because it's actually a Tower of Power former 15-year veteran of Tower of Power who co-wrote the tune with me.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah, Carmen Grillo, and he
Wow.
also engineered a lot of that particular cut, and as well as another of the songs, Distant Passage. He was involved in that. He didn't
That's
play on
cool.
it,
Wow.
but he helped me with some of the audio engineering. And but on Us Against the World, there was really the formula was clear. It was going to sound like Tower of Power from the vintage 70s, when they first started urban renewal. There's only so much oil in the ground. It was like, I want that sound. I want to get that vibe.
Yeah.
Can we do it with this track? So that was recorded in different sessions at UNLV, but not everybody together.
I
Just
see.
the horns were recorded
Just the
together.
horns. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I did want to ask, do you have any future shows this year that you're going to be representing Heroes album here in Las Vegas?
Funny you should ask that. I've been working on it. It's not the easiest thing to put together an instrumental show
Oh,
whereby I would like to feature some vocalists. So it's still in the making. In the meantime, I'm working with Dave Siegel and RJ Rios to we do a weather report tribute. So
okay,
the
cool. Yeah.
we play a couple of my tunes there, and I'm looking into a couple of the other possibilities, the Vegas Jazz Society and some other people, to see if I can coordinate an appearance to be also Vix as of interest, to see if I can get a release party type concert together. So I would really like to feature at least as many of the local musicians that are on it. There are quite a number of local greats that are here in Vegas that are on my record, and
That's
Bill
awesome.
Zappia, yeah, and Ali Starr, for instance, and John Bell's a guy on bass, and so there's quite a number of people that I'd like to feature, and that are on, like I said, on the record, but they live here as well. So we'll see. Hopefully, I wish I could tell you a date right now, but I'm still working on it. It's a big project to do
Oh, I
that,
bet. Yeah.
certainly, because the band settings are. are unique and they're of themselves, and I also want to give as many people as I can an opportunity to play with me because I love
Yeah.
to play with them.
No, yeah, and I want to say, congrats to your team as well for such a great album. So everyone that had a hand in it, good job, and yeah,
Oh
it's just
yeah,
great
they
that you
were
brought everyone from different parts of their skill level in who lives here in Las Vegas to help you out with it. That's really cool.
absolutely. I think
Yeah.
the person farthest away was in Miami at this point.
Oh, wow.
The guitar player Camilo,
Okay.
yeah, Volandia. He's quite a extraordinary talent from Miami, and others were like Dan Lutz in Los Angeles and Andy Sinise. Sinise is just an amazing drummer, and he came to town a couple times to play, and then I got him in the studio, and I've been touring with him for the last 8 to 10 years.
Very
So
cool.
Jacuba Griffin, I got him on the record before he left town, and now he's in New York City. So it was, like I said, a very intricate
Yeah.
puzzle that had to, over time be glued together. But certainly, I'm very thankful for the results. Danny Falcone, Ramiro Nacello, all these people that are on there. Dave Siegel, close
Yeah.
friend. Stephen Lee, Carmen, like I said, Carmen Grillo, Nick Mancini. He's in Oklahoma, I believe, and he's I met him in Los Angeles when I was living in LA, and just extraordinary soloist, multi
Wow.
instrumentalist. And so he played on the Steps Ahead tribute, Ahead of the Curve, and yeah, that's how this thing came together.
No, no, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Well, before we close on this episode, I am interested in knowing what is that shirt that you're wearing that says Saxonic Music? What is that?
Oh yeah, that's the merch, baby. So yeah, so saxonic.com is my domain, and my publishing company is Saxonic
Oh,
Music.
okay.
And
Saxonic. Okay.
so yeah, my you can get a personalized CD like this
Oh,
on
okay.
there, and sooner than later, vinyl as well as and these are personalized. Then I will sign it and
Oh,
write
cool.
something to you if you'd
Okay.
like. And I have caps and knit hats and hoodies and T-shirts. And so the logo type is, let's see here. That would be,
Wow, that's nice.
yeah. So I've got
Oh,
all different kinds of caps
yeah.
and this on here. So that's my brand, and also educational materials, Music Minus One are all in the works right now. So the first thing that came out was the T-shirts and the hats and the hoodies
Cool.
and the CD, and so the other products are on their way.
And for them to order any of that, what's the website?
Saxonic.com.
Saxonic.com. Okay,
Yep.
Saxonic.com. I'll make sure to put that down there.
Saxonic.com. That's me.
Now, what
Yeah.
about your Instagram?
Rick Keller Sax.
Oh,
That's me. At it, you can find me at use the at sign and Rick RickKeller at Rick Keller Sax SAX, and that's basically all the websites, the YouTube. You'll see all kinds of results from that.
very
Thank you for
cool.
asking.
Oh yeah, no, no, of course, because I remember you mentioned Saxonic before, and I was just curious, but now I know it's your business, it's your company.
Yeah. Well, I wanted
Very
to.
cool.
Yeah, I'm writing a book right now about music technology for
Okay.
a textbook for a publisher, Kendall Hunt, and that's to be released for fall of 26. So right
Wow,
now
good
I'm
for
on
you,
the.
Rick.
Yeah, so this is a culmination of all this technological, love and passion I've had
Yeah.
for studying, still a student every day, learning, about Dolby Atmos, working on my Dolby Atmos up mixes right now for this record, and just living the technological daily grind
Yeah.
and sharing it with students. That's what I teach primarily.
Yeah.
Besides jazz studies, I teach saxophone, composition, and improvisation at UNLV as well.
Very cool. I did want to ask, because I feel like it's something for us to look forward to. But what's next for you, Rick, besides the book coming out? Do you have another album that you would see in the future, or are you going to take a bit of a break and then just kind of focus
No,
on the
no
book?
breaks,
No
no
breaks?
breaks.
Yeah.
No, the joke that I always make is the next record is going to be called mostly duos. That's
Mostly
two
duos?
musicians, because this one was so elaborate with all the
Yeah.
different musicians and piecing it together. Although mostly duos presents other production things, but I'm not
Okay.
going to give it all away. It
Okay.
won't be only duos, but the idea is to put together unique songs with some with vocals, some without. But the what instruments are going to play will make it unique, and certainly my voice on the various saxophones and flute primarily. That's
Oh,
my
cool. Yeah.
strongest double. That'll be so. I'm looking to release that. In the meantime, I have also like ambient chill jazz pieces that one of them is called Raga Chillin' that's out already, but I have some other ones in the vault that I will be releasing along the way as time permits. But there's a lot to do, and I and I definitely keep myself busy. There's no
Well,
no
that's good. I'm glad.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah no
And real
extra time.
and real quick, when did you see that or say that that book's going to be coming out?
Well, it's due to be released, the first edition, in fall of 26.
Oh,
So
nice.
that'll be
Okay.
only within the university.
Okay.
But in 2027, I'd say spring, you should see it all over any kind of Kindle,
Yeah.
Amazon books, because it's from a very reputable publisher.
Yeah.
I can't say where they and how they release it right now. Right now, I'm just making sure I meet their deadline for May. So it's pretty much a creator's approach to music technology. So
Nice.
yeah, it's basically my experience growing up with technology and trying to help people learn about production and music, graphics, and video. It's
That's
pretty
cool.
much all the nuts and bolts, but in a kind of a friendly, user friendly way
Yeah.
that you can make it very accessible to anybody who wants to pursue it and learn about how to get into it and produce music and video and what also a little bit about the business part as well, copyright and all those things are included in this book.
Oh, well, awesome. Thank you for sharing that information. And we look forward to when the book is available next year for the public for them to purchase it. So,
The name is A Creator's Guide or A Creator's Practical Guide to Music Technology.
wow. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Rick. It's been such a pleasure to have you on the show and just share your journey. And wow,
My
now
my
that
pleasure.
now that I've heard more of the history behind the album Heroes, wow, I didn't even think it took 2 years to create that. But what an
Yeah.
accomplishment, huh?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Joshua. It's a great pleasure to meet you, and I look forward to meeting you in person as soon as the opportunity presents itself. And I certainly will invite you to anything that I'm doing.
Oh, I would love to meet you in person and get a signed copy of your album. That'd be cool. I still
That's
buy
going to
CDs,
happen.
so I still have CDs. Yes, I'm a fan of vinyl and CDs. So
Yeah.
so anyway, but all right, guys. Well, if you'd like to share your story on Rhythm and Roads Las Vegas, my Instagram is Joshua Jacob Official. Feel free to send me a message. I'd love to have you come on and share your story as well. I believe every story matters. Every story can impact someone's life to continue their journey because they heard a story from Rick Keller. You know what I mean? Anyone who comes on the show and shares a story you never know who you're impacting. So, oh, all right, Rick. Well, thank you so
Thank
much.
you, everyone. Thank you,
And
Joshua.
thank you. And guys, this is Joshua Jacob, Rhythm and Roads, Las Vegas.